Welcome to Go Home Heat, a wrestling podcast. Impact Wrestling has a new belt. They're full of belts now. People just show up with belts all the time. An Omega Man approaches the Moose, who approaches the Swan.
Yes.
Nice.
Wonderful.
Okay, and we got AEW we're going to talk about, which is the main event of the week, and maybe talk about some other stuff. All right. And if you didn't know where you were, you're on Access TV, but they are recapping the AEW final in which Kenny Omega steals, well, actually, he wins the championship through microphone to the skull and One Wing Angel. They run to the bus. That's the stealing part that they're referring to. Bus leaves, and it takes them a long time to get to Tennessee where Impact Wrestling is filmed. They drove very slowly and hit every exit on the way, which is good because you got to be safe out there. Be safe out there when you're driving in tour buses, guys. 50,000 Twitch views for this episode. Probably the most watched since they left Country Music Channel or whatever they were on before, where they had a couple of million people watch Dixie Carter go through a table.
Yeah.
So this is definitely the most, and we'll get there. We'll want to talk a little bit about the impact. Get it? Impact
nice.
Of this show for Impact. Get it? Impact Wrestling.
Nice.
Okay. Josh Alexander is with Ethan Page versus Chris Sabin, who has Alex Shelley along. It is a Josh Alexander wrestling match against Chris Sabin. If a man has wrestling headset on that you use to headgear, you're obviously a mat technician. Those two things go hand in hand. Singlet as well. This was great. I mean,
oh yeah. Dude.
Really good wrestlers, and Josh is whooping him, and Sabin is about to go down, and Ethan's in the way he is, decides he wants to call out how Josh should finish the match, and that gets the distraction for what winds up. He wants to do the butterfly. He wants him to do the butterfly suplex. When he goes for that, we get a jackknife cover for the win. What did you think?
Great match.
I
think they're going to break the North up, though.
That's blatantly obvious.
Yeah. I think Ethan Page is actually leaving Impact. That's what the dirt sheets say, and that would line up with how the story's going, that his contract's coming up soon.
And Josh Alexander would be a very good
singles
wrestler to go with his singlet.
Yes.
On this program.
Yes.
He's a fantastic wrestler. And I like both these guys. I love them as a tag team. They have been one of the bright spots in tag team wrestling over the last few years.
Honestly, yeah.
In the pandemic stuff where they stayed in Canada and filmed stuff from.
Oh, it was hilarious.
It was great.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that. And now Ethan becoming Karate Man and getting into a different shape and then going off into the sunset to do his own thing is great as well. Because I don't really worry about Impact being able to replace people.
Dude, their ability to just like take people and make them into something that feels like a big deal, or is at the very least like good and entertaining, is admirable. They do it with everybody.
A big deal on this level.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Look at how much they've done for Chris Bay.
Are you kidding?
I mean, don't get me wrong. That dude's done a lot for himself, being incredibly talented, but they have put him on a level where he feels relevant and important, and I get to see him, and he's exciting.
And if he went to another show and challenged, like if he walked into, say, AEW or NXT and walked in and said, okay, I'm wrestling for your TNT belt, and he wins it, I wouldn't be surprised, and it wouldn't bother me.
Right.
If he walked in and said, I'm wrestling for your North American Championship, and he won, first night, I wouldn't be surprised, and it would fit. He's become, to me, must-see wrestling when he gets in the ring.
I'll follow that dude wherever.
Right,
I think
absolutely.
He's really, really talented.
Right. Okay, Josh and Madison gush over Don and Kenny, but they kind of sort of gush. There's a little bit of I can't believe these dastardly doers are here, but there's also this is the biggest night in the history of everything, which both can be true. And Chris wants to know if Moose wants to talk about the match. Moose does not particularly want to discuss the match. Moose talks with his fist, and they can talk after Bay wins, because Bay says, I'm going to win the title on Saturday night, and he says, I talk with my fist. If you're going to win the belt, we'll talk after Saturday night. So I liked all that. That was good. Tony Khan, paid ad. I'm not sure he really paid for this ad.
No, I don't think so.
Because I would think that it cost more I would think it costs more for Impact to have clips of AEW on their show than it cost for 180 seconds of the other.
Maybe that's the price he paid though.
I think they traded.
Yeah,
right?
Quick trade.
Right. What did you think about this segment where Tony kind of big times?
I thought it was funny.
Right.
I thought, I don't know, just like the kind of passive aggressive Tony Khan, and Tony Schiavone's just so good in everything he does because he also has that edge of bitterness to him in a lot of ways.
I worked here for, I think he said 3 hours.
Yeah, and then I
quit the biz
wrestling
for
business.
18 years. Right? And
I thought it was so funny.
What if I just bought this company? It reeked of it reeked of we're bigger than this.
Yeah.
Right? Which rubbed me a little bit the wrong way, but by the same token, I get it.
Yeah.
And you do need to, because in a way Omega's doing the same thing but different. You know what I mean? And I do, look, I'll just go ahead and say it. I made the mistake of, what did you think of AEW? Somebody asked that online, and I made the mistake of reading underneath it.
Yeah.
And it was a bunch of, I would never watch this again if Kenny Omega wasn't on. And it felt like indie wrestling. And I thought to myself, well, first of all, that's its charm.
Yeah, that's what I like about it.
Right. Second of all, that frustrates me. But then, when I thought it through, I thought, okay, they had the most views on Twitch they've ever had. They had probably a huge uptick in people that watch the show in general. Anybody that could get it, that's a wrestling fan on Access TV, could get access to watch it. People probably went to their YouTube channel and watched all the clips. So let's make believe there's 200,000 people that watch, that chose to watch this, and 170,000 people never watch it again. There's still 30,000 people that might give you a second watch.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal when you're not getting that many. You know what I mean? This is, no matter, they can't do wrong here no matter how AEW treats them, because they're getting access to another audience. And then what I also liked about this is Impact did not bring in a ton of big names and try to change this. And the big name was Kenny Omega and a guy that already works with him, Callis. They didn't change the show at all. This was an AEW. This was an Impact show. If you like Impact, then you would like this. If you didn't know you liked Impact and watched this and liked it, now you know what you get. You won't watch next week and go, oh God. I'm trying to think of a Sammy Hagar. Like Sammy Hagar's on their network, so that's why I bring it up. Oh, Sammy Hagar's not on here every week. You know, that kind of thing. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? Not that Sammy Hagar would be a huge name in the wrestling biz, but you get where I'm coming from.
You never know.
Yes, you do never know, but you can assume. And make an Okay. Where are we at now? Brian Myers and TJP. Get him. I thought this was a really good match.
Really good match, yeah.
And Myers winds up winning. He's a little bit bigger than TJP. TJP is going through some things. He did what he always does. He gives you some moves in an order which you don't normally see. He loses. He's frustrated. You get the Diener segment backstage where Cody is telling Jake to stay out of it, and then you wind up with Rohit walking up on TJP and letting him know how bad his luck is, and then letting him know that the last Rohit challenge of the year is Saturday. And TJP wishes him luck, and man, does it feel like there's some form of shenanigans to be had here between TJP and Rohit on Saturday night.
I feel like it.
I do too. Something is amiss on this. Eric Young with Doring versus Cody with Jake. So Eric Young and Cody are the ones wrestling. Cody does okay for a second. Things get flipped. Cody did hit the Thesz press and do the stomps in the corner, so he is actually Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The beer drinking.
Yes.
I mean, it's all there.
It's close.
Blonde.
Ish.
Okay.
He does get distracted, and that's all EY needs, and he misses the splash. EY turns it into a pile driver, and then EY and Joe are going to, they put the whooping on Jake as Jake tries to stop them from whooping Cody more. It looks like we're going to get the double pile driver spot until Rhino and his lead pipe come down, and the Beast Man Rhino is going into a program with these guys. Nothing says pro wrestling like Rhino and a lead pipe.
I will say that this was the segment that just didn't do it for me.
Really?
EY and his buddy.
Yeah.
What's his deal? Like, that dude has not impressed me in the slightest. His look isn't great. He doesn't wrestle great. I don't know what his deal is.
Are you talking about EY's buddy or EY?
EY is fine. EY is a good wrestler. I've enjoyed his matches. His promos are pretty good. I obviously don't have like the history of knowing him throughout his career.
Right.
But he's good.
He's a character.
He's a character.
And a good wrestler.
Who is this random guy who's with him who literally looks like they brought him off the street?
I'd like to see him maybe wrestle in a match.
Or something like that. Or not come out in just like jeans.
And he has jeans and a cowboy hat. That's all you need to know.
He just looks like a dude.
He's a cowboy dude. He's big.
I mean, yeah, man, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So, he's a. Where was he from?
Oh, I don't even.
They say he's from Japan. How do you not know him?
Oh yeah, yes, I know. I have cataloged in my mind every single Japanese. This is actually Stan Hansen's illegitimate son, who's way worse than Stan Hansen.
Wow. Okay. Well, now we know who he is. Okay. Bravo wants Larry arrested, and that's no problem. Diener's going to go take care of this, and then Larry comes up with the idea that if Dreamer has a match with Larry and wins, then Larry will go turn himself in and let the legal system handle this issue of him shooting or not shooting Bravo. A first-class trial, fair and just trial, followed by a first-class hanging.
Yes.
That's what we're going to get here.
Yes, absolutely. You know, this works in real life as well.
Yes.
You can just not get arrested if you challenge them to a wrestling match.
Or if Larry were to win, no turning yourself in, it all goes away. And he said, and then I like the fact that he did say, hey, wait, will this actually work? And Dreamer's like, I can do whatever I want. I have the cachet to take over the legal system.
I mean, he is the court.
He could have better luck with the Supreme Court than someone else has had lately on this.
I mean, yeah, no, that's a fact.
Okay.
But no, I do love this trial by combat angle.
Yes.
It's good.
Absolutely.
It's very Impact where it's like, yeah, dude, of course.
It also has a bit of a Gladiators feel.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Yes. You oppose the king, by golly. You go down there and find out whether or not you can whoop this lion. If you can whoop the lion, you're free.
You're good to go. But...
No issue. Sell tickets. Okay. Knockouts tag title tourney. Deonna Purrazzo and Kimberly versus Taya Valkyrie Rose. This was great.
This was a great match.
Taya is so good.
I thought Rosemary looked great.
Did you see the way Rosemary arose when she got kicked down and came out screaming?
That rules.
Oh, and then Taya winds up doing her thing, and Rosemary comes over with the cross body and then gets the wing clipper for the pin, and Rosemary's going to get to challenge Deonna Purrazzo. Taya's in her corner. Great.
You know, Rosemary's had a pretty great run of it recently after her groom was almost murdered.
It is weird, too, because I thought maybe she was on her last legs as a wrestler for a little bit, and she really looks kind of spry lately.
Yeah,
She was moving really well in this match.
Yeah, that's because I had the same thought where I was like, I kind of thought she was winding down her career because her career's been...
She's been around. She wears heavy knee braces. You think that maybe she has trouble moving sometimes.
But in this match, she looked great.
Right.
So she can absolutely do that, and I'm excited for it.
Demon, sweat, and fish oil.
Yes.
Great for the joints.
Yeah. It's all that demonic blood coursing through your veins.
And fish oil.
I can't undersell
the fish oil along with the Demon Sweat. Demon Sweat Live is a Danzig live album. Awesome. Check it really? Out. Oh yeah, mother.
You could tell me anything about Danzig, and I would believe it, though. You know what I mean?
Right. Danzig's the man. He has an Elvis cover album.
I have heard about that.
Yeah. You don't have to listen to it. Like, if you would rather listen to Elvis, you probably...
if you'd rather listen to anything else...
It's funny because I used to tell people, dude, Danzig sounds a little bit like Elvis. But now that he's doing the album...
wasn't his nickname or something like The Devil's Elvis? Which is a really cool nickname.
He did an Elvis cover tune earlier on, too. Like, during his actual Danzig career. But the thing is, too, his voice isn't quite... he's not young. You know, the Misfits was a long time ago.
There's also many openly missed chords in the composition. which
does not help the overall sound.
Gave it a rawness. Openly missed chords give things a rawness.
It's like jazz, baby. It's about the notes you play wrong.
Daniil and Caleb try to talk to Alicia.
A missed note in jazz is like a botch in lucha libre.
It's just part of the experience.
Right. Or a Goldberg match.
Yes.
It's a concussion. It's for somebody. Okay. Alicia can deal with them right now. She can't deal with them right now because she's got her own problems. Eddie got hit with a bat, and you see, like, I don't know if they put makeup on him or if that was legit, but that looked like it hurt. What was on his head, and Deanna and Kimberly wound up going over and yelling at Scott D'Amore, and he has had enough of this crap.
It's so funny. I've loved these little segments with Deanna because they've all been building up to him just like flipping out and just being like, you know what, you're right, and guess what, you're going to be in a match.
Yeah, and she's like, having me have to deal with a tag team tournament isn't fair when I'm the champion. He's like, well, you lost and you're out of the tournament, so you don't have to deal with that anymore.
You're good to go.
Yeah, so and you know what?
He's so right the whole time. I love him, the way of him dealing with it being so satisfactory and being like, you know what? Yeah.
Right.
You're going to get a match. And that's what you're going to get because you're the champ.
Well, D'Amore has a way of, in all these segments, feeling like, okay, yeah, I hear your point, but the reality is, you know what I mean? And
he sees past all their BS. He never like indulges it in a way other than like, oh yeah, no, you're gonna have to do that.
And now that you're free on Saturday because you're not in the tournament, you can have a title match with Rosemary, who did happen to just pin you. Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, yes. Gosh, it was a great segment.
And go be mad about it. That's fine. Sami Callihan hits the ring to give us a promo and tell us how he changed the wrestling world by hitting Eddie Edwards on a bat. As if nothing else happened last week.
I mean, it looked like it hurt a lot.
It did look like it hurt a lot. I don't think it made TMZ like he claimed.
No, yeah, I thought that was weird.
Alicia Edwards, however, comes out, and she is the distraction we need as Eddie attacks and runs roughshod over my man Sammy. And then they wind up going backstage, and since she helped Eddie with his problem, he's supposed to go help her with her problem. And I don't know what we get, but maybe Caleb with a K versus Tenille versus Eddie Edwards and Elite, which is something I badly needed in my life. I don't know where we're going, but I trust it because it's Impact and it's going to be okay. Okay, Chris Bay and Moose versus Rich Swann and Willie Mack, and the wrestling in this match is off the chain.
Oh, dude, this match was fire.
It really was
so dope.
Dude, I said something about on Twitter. I said, put the AEW belt on Moose, you cowards. And this guy, some guy chimed in with, and I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to upset anybody.
He replied with, and I quote, "Moose is a horrible wrestler."
Which is the wildest opinion.
It's a tough take for me to gather because I feel like he's a.
And I told he
Ray made me.
And when we were at like an ice cream place, when he said when I heard him say, guy said Moose is a horrible wrestler, and I went, reply to him, the man saved Ken Shamrock's life.
Yeah,
which I did.
Yeah, that kind of. Shifts the conversation. The fact that he literally saved Ken Shamrock's life does
he hasn't replied.
Right.
He bumps him up a couple ladders, a couple rings on the ladder.
I don't think he's replied.
So anyway, and we wind up with, like I said, it's fantastic wrestling. And then we wind up with Moose hitting a spear after Willie Mack hits a pop-up punch on our man Chris Bay. Moose hits spear, and then he begins to pummel Willie into comatose state. Basically, these last 3 times he's faced Willie Mack, he's knocked him out with forearms to the head. And Rich Swann comes over for the save, kicks Moose in the head, and they turn around, roll out of the ring, and Chris Bay is able to, as he's almost out himself, crawl over, get the cover, and now Chris Bay is challenging for your championship Saturday night, and he has picked up Moose's scraps twice.
That's money.
It's money.
That's
I thought
money,
it was
though.
great. Now then we get to what we all came here for, which is
I actually came for the main wrestling event.
Me too. But okay, what do you think about Kenny Omega in the bus talking to Josh and talking to
I thought it was
Callis.
pretty good. I guess I wasn't like blown away by it, but it was a pretty good segment. I think Kenny's a better talker than he sometimes gets credit for.
Don continued to call Josh a Stanford, Connecticut mark, which I thought was interesting.
Don Callis was really good in this segment with just him insulting it, and oh gosh.
Well, he's good at insulting Josh anyway.
Oh, that's my
his
favorite
job.
part of his commentary.
Right.
Just absolutely bodying Josh at every opportunity.
Right. So the gist of it is, we came up together, and the plan was for us to take over the world even before there was an AEW company. That is how we wound up going to Japan and taking over Japan. I am the invisible hand of all of wrestling, and it feels like that could be true as he tells the story, even if Don is so out of it, it's kind of hard to buy that. But it does work in this scenario, and he does happen to have the guy who's credited as being the best bout machine and the number one name in the sport currently. So it works. And they have the cachet to do that and then take a helicopter to the show we'll talk about next, AEW. And I love that he said the callback thing where he says, I got 2 words for you to tell you how we're getting to the next show, Lex Luger. And I was thinking bus again. I'd forgotten that he took a helicopter to the Yokozuna thing.
See, I was thinking battleship.
Oh, that would have been nice.
Yeah, because he thought Yokozuna. I thought the wrong part of that Yokozuna match.
You could take a battleship from Tennessee to Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That would have been...
It's a straight shot.
Epic. Pull up in a battleship, fire off a couple cannons. That's the entrance an Omega Man deserves. Okay, Young Bucks versus Hybrid. What did you think about this?
Actually, no. What did you think about this? Because those are you boys, right?
Yeah. It was good. It was really busy.
It was busy.
It was really, really busy. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I just, me, man. I wanted him to win.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
But that's not in the cards.
I thought this match was crazy.
A lot happened.
And a lot of really inventive spots.
Right.
And I think part of this is, and I'm going to say this for the episode as a whole, I felt like this episode was supposed to hearken in a lot of ways back to WCW. Like the heyday of WCW where you just put it on like a pay-per-view. First match was an absolute banger. Crazy stuff with some cruiserweight guys. You know what I mean?
Tell me this. Just my memory doesn't do well. Have they started out a lot of their shows with the tag team division? And it does. Yeah. Okay, that does make sense in the format, doesn't it?
Yeah, right out the gate you get a banger. There's so many times
their version of cruiserweights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like half the roster.
Right.
It can just be tossed into that spot and have an amazing match. And I thought this was one of them where some of the spots I saw were just completely wild, never seen before. Jack Evans is a virtuoso at flinging himself.
Jack Evans is crazy.
Crazy.
And I love Angelico. I love him. And he... Yeah, dude, I love him. And it's... You know what really gets me about this, too, is I worry, okay, they had their little 3-week program in the sun.
Yeah, now they get tossed. Yeah.
Right. It even felt like kind of during the match when they threw... He threw Evans into the tag team that has been running their mouths?
The Acclaimed.
Didn't he throw Evans into the Acclaim, or was it Angelico he threw into the Acclaim?
I think it was Evans.
Okay.
Evans is a little easier.
But it almost felt like, too, they'd already moved on as they throw him over there. They got the next thing.
I'm not entirely sure. I certainly hope not.
I just really like...
Because I was wowed. I was wowed at this match. I really liked it.
Good. Okay, Tony Schiavone with Cody and Arn.
Dude, let me go ahead and say Tony was like an MVP for this episode for me, as he has been in the past for episodes, because, man, that dude's just electric. That dude, I don't know, it just feels very genuine every time he gets really excited.
You know what I told him? And I get what you're saying, and I enjoy it very much, but it's almost like Tony has been born every day and he's a newborn baby.
You're right.
Like,
you're right.
everything is the most amazing thing he's ever seen, right?
But I feel it, and I feel like that's
well, it doesn't come off. It comes off like a newborn baby. Like, oh my God, that's the first time I've seen blue. Oh my God, that's the first time I've seen, you know what I mean? Yeah. But this segment isn't where it shows up. This segment, he is more of a I get I'm understanding that I'm standing in the midst of history. The Prince of Wrestling today, the Prince of Wrestling of yesterday. Arn's here. I don't necessarily have to be here. Arn's thing where I just wanted to make sure this was real and backed away was, I'm not sure why Arn even needed to be there, but fine.
I feel like people wanted them to at least acknowledge any history that Sting and Arn had, given Sting's proximity to Cody recently.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's a nice added detail that rewards people watching long term.
Well, and he did say, for the time being, I'll step out of the way. But I did like how Cody begins to say, I've waited all my life to share a ring with you. And he says, I'm not here for you.
Dude, this segment...
Sting can talk.
I love this segment. Sting can talk, and I knew some people were like, man, I was really surprised that he was so casual. And I get how you can think... Because like, if you go back and watch Sting, that's just what he's like. He was Surfer Sting for like way longer than he was Crow Sting. Mm-hmm. That's just who he is. And I get how you can see, guy with the baseball bat brooding up in the rafters would have like a Batman, grovelly, I've come for you. No, but he talks like a dude. And it's
almost
good.
Like,
yeah.
And I said this.
Well, and he's
on
the
AEW.
elder statesman.
I said this on AEW when we were watching. I said it's almost like his voice hasn't aged with him.
It's true. He sounds way younger.
Yeah, right. Correct.
But no, dude, I love this segment. Right. I thought this segment was great.
When he acknowledges
Darby
in the rafters or at the top row of the stadium, and he says, some things seem familiar, and then he comes back, and Cody then he winds up. He calls him Kiddo a couple times.
Oh my God.
Says, I'll see you around, kid, with his arm around. And by the way, people forget, Cody in today's wrestling world is not a small guy, and Sting dwarfs that man.
Sting's big.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, it gets lost because Sting was in a land of people who were really, really big.
Right, and he had to fight him.
Yeah.
Like, Hogan was bigger than him. Scott Hall, Nash were bigger than him. Vader was the same height, but engulfs him.
I mean, it's like Bret Hart was considered small, and that dude's like, what, 6'1"?
Well, look at Dustin.
Yeah.
Dustin in this company is a giant, and back then today, he was just another, not by any means just another, but
he wasn't.
He didn't.
Big, yeah.
Billy Gunn. When Billy Gunn gets in the ring,
that dude is a mountain.
Right, and back then you didn't think twice about it, And by the way, all these guys we're naming were really good performers. We always talk about how great wrestling is now, and it is. And the way they wrestle now is amazing. But all these guys, Big Van Vader, for a man his size, was
that dude
special.
Was unreal.
And Sting many times had to pick that dude up. Sting was a beast in his own day. Now,
I do want to point out real quick that I love the awkwardness of this segment where Cody, it was very obviously to him, it was a moment for him to like be, hey man, I might test my mettle against this legend. This guy I grew up watching in WCW. I'm here for it. I'm ready. I've been waiting my whole life. And Sting's just like, hey man, good to see you. See you around.
Yeah.
the awkwardness, the clash was so good to me and just entertaining.
If Cody wrote this segment, he is incredibly self-aware. Because it felt so shunned, and you could see where if Cody is who we think he is, he would walk off that stage ready to kill that guy because he did not get to be the moment. Because you feel like Cody brought Sting in to Shaq's here, Sting's here for Cody. You feel like that, right?
Yeah.
And so for Sting to be like, no, not really. If Cody is writing this, he is incredibly self-aware of who we think his character is and pushing it through. And I love it.
Oh, my God.
If he's not writing it, at least he's willing to go along.
That's kind of the thing where it's like, okay, if what he's doing, like before, when like the last episode we did with Litnick where I said, I don't think this, but do you think what Cody's doing is hypocritical? If he is parodying Triple H, this is
I don't know. I don't think he's parodying Triple H necessarily.
Well, if he's... You know what I mean.
Also, though, I don't think he can help it. Because his role is similar. He's, they're both front office guys. And so, in a way, you can't help but... You know what I mean?
They're going to have similar paths where it's like, hey, of course he's doing well in the company.
Well, and also, every time you win, you booked it. Every time you lose, yeah, sure, you booked it, but that's just to make you cool some other way. There's going to be that because you do have say-so. It's the same thing that, all the stars, everybody John Cena ever beat, we decided John Cena made that call. Right? Like Vince didn't have anything to do with it.
He's the mastermind.
Right. You know what I mean? Ric Flair. All these people we just assume because they have cachet held other people down, and people in the company think that. And so taking advantage of that on screen makes sense because it's there. The beauty of wrestling is to take a line that's there in real life and blur it. Right?
And okay. That's what I feel like they've done successfully recently.
Right. FTR versus Varsity Blondes. What you think?
I like this match quite a bit.
Me too.
I mean, FTR is just phenomenal workers, and I do like Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. I think they're pretty good. I do like the Varsity Blondes, the tag team name.
I also thought that Pillman sold well.
Yeah.
But the other guy, what's his name?
Griff Garrison.
Griff Garrison. Okay, first of all, what a name.
Second, I know, yeah. He's like Harvard educated, too.
Correct. And second of all, they allowed him to be the offensive guy. And he looked really good.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, that's one guy who's been on Dark consistently for like this entire pandemic period.
Mm-hmm.
That dude's been around for a while, and he's been getting better.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good.
Yeah, and putting them in there this was fun. And it was a little bit... I liked the first match, but obviously I was rooting in a different direction, and I was kind of rooting with my heart a little more than I should have. But this is more my speed anyway. You know what I mean? I really liked this match. The contrast in styles and the way they were, FTR was giving performers to them too and allowing them to look good periodically before pulling it off. Okay. Dustin Rhodes versus 10. What did you think about this?
It was all right. I guess I went in with pretty low expectations. I wasn't expecting a whole lot. It went all right.
Dude, I really liked it.
You really liked it?
Yeah.
I think it's really good for like a performer like 10 to be in there with Dustin. I think that was, for me, the biggest part was like, man, him being in there with Dustin is a huge experience for him, a huge learning experience.
Because he's talented.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. So that's kind of what I took out the most out of that match was wow, this is a great experience.
I guess every time Dustin gets in the ring, I just think to myself, I can't believe this guy's 51 years old.
I completely agree. Where every time he does something like the scoop slam, I'm blown away.
Right.
It's like the first time.
I didn't like the bulldog finish because I would like something a little more elaborate as a finish, even though I can be I like the clean finishes and the not so complicated, but a bulldog is not normally a finisher. It was kind of out of nowhere that was the finish. But then I liked the program after. I liked Uno grabbing the mic.
Oh, dude, Uno on the mic in this segment was so good, and I have to give another shout out to Tony Schiavone because when Uno offered him 7 and Tony goes, oh, he doesn't want that number.
Right, because you remember 7.
Yeah, dude, that's the thing I remember from Dustin in WCW was the work shoot promo where he hovers out in the whole 7 gimmick and he's like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so good.
Yeah, and I loved it because then when Uno calls out that, your name carries a lot of pressure, which is complete, and that's the story of Dustin's whole life. Yeah. And then to say, even on this show, you're the third Rhodes.
I like that. Also, I want to shout out In My Mind. I'm not sure if this is what he meant, but my first instinct was I didn't even think of Brandy. I was just like Cody, Dusty, and then Dustin. I don't know if he meant Brandy as one of the second ones or if he meant Dusty.
Yeah.
Like Dusty's...
Oh, I think he meant Brandy.
Oh.
I think he meant...
I mean, yeah, honestly.
His whole life, he's had to deal with Dusty being one. And then Cody passes him probably in the Dashing days.
Yeah.
And then to say, now Dusty's not here and you still can't be number 2. Right? But either way, it works.
I thought it was really compelling. I like the Dark Order recruiting like that.
And he kind of held his hand up right before he slapped him in the mouth, a little bit like The Undertaker, which I liked. Because if it's felt like maybe give him a little, and then I'm sorry, this is not a visual. I just held my hand above my head like I was Paul Bearer and then looked at it. Okay, but so anyway, I really like this a lot. And then then we get to now the Darby segment. Tell me about it.
The Darby segment where he had the psychiatrist, whatever, doing the Rorschach tests, and it was like the outlines of different wrestlers. Like the Will Hobbs one, he's like, "What do you see?" Darby goes, "Snake in the grass."
Yeah.
Oh, it ruled. And then the Sting, and then Darby didn't respond. That just adds to the mystery for me.
Yeah.
I thought this segment was perfect, and I'm surprised I haven't seen something of its nature before.
Right.
But I feel like that's kind of Darby's strong suit, is these little vignettes add so much to his character.
He has not missed
No.
on it.
There was one, I think it was the one with, was it Steve-O? Where he just gets put in a body bag and he just gets like tossed down a skateboard ramp, and it just looks unbelievably dangerous for a bad visual. That one was not very good, but every other one has been out of the park.
Right. Okay. All right. Good. Now, we get to the Inner Circle
Ultimatum
moment. They've been thinking things through now, figuring out where we're going to go from here. And Judas is played. Everybody singing at the top of their lungs.
Mask down.
Oh.
No, actually, it was pretty good this time around. I've criticized them a lot for just showing shots of the audience where they just have their masks down.
But man, if you go to an AEW show and you don't know the words to Judas,
what are you doing?
That would be like going to an Alabama game and not knowing the fight song. You might get sucker punched by somebody who knows you are not a part of the system.
Facts.
Okay, so Sammy ain't down, but Ortiz tries to talk him into it.
I thought this segment was great.
Ortiz was great.
Mm-hmm.
He said that, and Santana wasn't there, but he said Santana has talked me into this. He said, Wardlow, you're cool. I love you.
Yeah.
And then he said, MJF, not so much, but you can bring some things to the table. I like that. They do wind up being okay with each other after some back and forth between Wardlow and Hagar,
which I thought was funny. I thought this segment was well paced in that like moment of brevity, or not brevity, just moment of like comedy. At the end, it's like, why you been staring at me? Why are you staring at me? I could stop staring anytime I want. It was great.
That reminds me of the worst pickup line I've ever heard.
Oh, I have to hear it.
Okay, I got a buddy. He says to me, he says, watch this. And he just stares at this girl. We're in a bar now.
Right.
And he says, she says something like, what are you looking at? Because he's being blatant.
Yeah.
And he says, in the coolest voice he can muster, how do you know I was looking at you if you wasn't looking at me? And she just like rolls her eyes and walks away. And I was like, dude.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
Dude, I mean.
Really?
Does that ever? Because there's no way.
Do you just go to bars and leer at women?
Because I mean, like back then it wasn't now. I mean, in the age of cell phones, there would be like police wondering what car this guy's driving. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It turns out you shouldn't go to a bar and just like leer at women.
You know who you are.
But
okay.
But I thought the whole segment was great. I thought everyone did really well. Just like the logic of it made sense too. Mm-hmm. With Jericho being like, "Hey man, you know I watched this show, right?
Yeah.
I know you're a snake,
right?
But you're quite useful,
right? And you can be my snake, and that's all right too.
And we can help each other,
right? And then MJF tries to cut a promo, and Jericho says, "Hey man, you're ruining it." And so he shuts up, and that'll be the main event later. Okay, Lucha Bros and Archer versus Eddie, Butcher, and Blade. I liked this. Penta gets beat up before they even get started, so it winds up being a handicap. Tweaked his leg.
Was that what it was? Because, man, he gets powerbombed through the table, and I thought it looked clean. I thought it was like one of the cleanest powerbombs through a table I've seen.
Okay.
But it's totally possible for him to tweak his leg like that. That sucks, though.
Well, I don't know if he was really hurt.
No, that's kind of the thing. But for me, what made me believe that he was legitimately hurt was that Eddie was over there by the table as he was limping out. Like, Eddie was over there looking.
Oh. I didn't notice it. Because I did rewind it, because when he got put through the table and they started the match, I was like, man, I've seen Penta go through a whole bunch of stuff, and he never doesn't continue. So it'd be hard for me to believe that he's supposed to sell that to never come back.
Yeah.
And then when I rewound it, he got put through the table, and as they were current camera, he leans up. Not that he didn't sell the injury, but he leans up and grabs his leg.
Oh.
He grabs his knee. So I don't know, but he did grab his knee. after going through a table, which is a weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, like, the way that his leg came down, like, jerked or hyperextend. I don't know, man.
He may have hurt the knee before he ever went up for the powerbomb. You know what I mean? Because I want to say he had a little hitch in his get along when he walked into the powerbomb. I have to rewatch it, but I think that's true.
But I will say the match after that was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It was great.
Right. Well, Phoenix gets the chance to really fight from down under.
Yeah.
And Archer got the chance to be the polar opposite of that in a match with guys that are really good wrestlers. I love the Butcher and the Blade.
Oh, dude. It blows me away how much I like them. I love the aesthetic. Mm-hmm. I love the way they wrestle.
Them with Kingston is great.
Dude.
They're perfect for you. You would never in a million years think a guy with Kingston's persona would fit with those other two dudes, and it works easily because when the bell rings, they're not that different.
Yeah, the aesthetics don't quite match up in a lot of ways.
Until
they're underbelly of the city in very distinctly different ways, but as soon as the bell rings, man, there's not that much of a difference.
And you could understand where they would understand who that guy is. You know what I mean? It works.
Yes, dude, this whole program rules, honestly.
Right. And then when the match is over, of course, the numbers game catches up to him. We wind up getting Archer cleaning house after Phoenix gets pinned, and we've set up Archer versus any one of these guys we want, probably Eddie. And also, you probably wind up with, I will shout out to Jake for having the guts to wear his nighties with him.
What was going on with Jake's outfit?
Well, that was snake print.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
It was snake print in some form of a warm-up jogger. Black.
As in...
It's chilly, man.
Jake as in...
And the pink shoes really set it off to go with black and some form of boa constrictor cover.
Jake? like Jake as in Hagar?
The Snake Roberts.
The Snake, son.
Jake the Hagar Rob.
No. Jake the Snake, brother. Jake the Snake. Okay. Omega speaks. Tony Schiavone is so disgusted. That microphone to the head was the worst thing Tony Schiavone's ever seen in the history of pro wrestling.
It's like I mean, it's pretty bad. I'm not gonna sit around and pretend it's not an affront, but
the worst thing he's seen in the history of pro wrestling.
That dude watched the last 2 years of WCW, and he's gonna say that's the worst thing.
He watched.
He remembered 7.
Match.
He remembered 7 because he talked about it.
7.
Okay.
The Vince Russo era.
He watched Buff Bagwell's mom go on a pole.
Forklift.
Yeah, forklift match. What was that? This is the worst thing I've ever seen.
It's possible that he was so mentally checked out during the last several years of WCW that he just does not remember that.
He also called multiple years of minor league baseball. I'm sure something in there approached it as well. Minor league baseball.
What'd you think about the segment?
It was good.
It was good.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
I didn't mention it on the Impact part, but Kenny having the idea of just like, oh man, I'm just collecting these belts. I do kind of enjoy that a little bit. It's maybe not the most compelling thing.
Shout out to Austin Aries.
The
belt collector.
Yes.
The original belt collector. Going to different... I like the idea of him thinking that he can do that. I do not want him with Impact's belt.
No. God, please,
or
no.
TNA's belt.
I don't want him. Mostly
put the belt on Moose, you cowards, Tony Khan.
Hey, you're right. Mostly because I feel like he would just like devalue it. In kayfabe, devalue it.
He would throw it around.
Yeah, he'd treat it like
I have this because I can have it, not because I respect the company.
And it's like, man, Impact's good.
It's fun.
And that's always the worry I have with crossovers like this, where AEW is way bigger than Impact. Where I'm like, man, I don't want people going in here big time and performers that I really like, performers that I really respect. And yeah, I know it's
I don't
like,
also
it's in kayfabe supposed to piss me off that he's doing this, but it's also out of kayfabe still making them look like clowns. You know what I mean? Because people legitimately think that. Right. That's not something that is a totally made up heinous thought that Impact is small indie wrestling compared to AEW.
That's predominant.
That's a predominant. Yeah, if you're just going to go on there and copy that and just give voice to the thoughts that people already have, that's just sucks, man.
Yeah. But by the same token, like we
also,
said, you can totally understand why Impact's like, I can't lose if I get 100,000 more people to watch.
I feel like you said it's bad if he does that with the TNA championship that Moose has. I feel like it's a bit better if he does that with specifically the TNA belt.
Yeah, that belt is illegitimate to begin with.
It's illegitimate. It's not like a real belt. So like if he throws it around, it's not.
Dude, the greatest thing ever.
And also, TNA disrespected his best bud Okada. Let's not forget that.
That's a fact, actually. And the Bucks. Oh man, we didn't even talk about the little. They had like instead of ads or whatever, or like Melissa Santos coming up, they had clips from matches.
Yes.
And they had the Generation Me versus Motor City Machine Guns match, which was not. I would like to see that match again today.
Right.
Because there were a couple spots that I thought were really cool. One of which ended up being a little lame because it's so dangerous that they can't really go ham with it.
Yeah.
Where they're standing on top of the 3 ladders and the table on top, and they're like battling with chairs. It's
like a house of cards they're fighting on.
It's terrifying.
Yes. Even when was it Saban or Shelley that pulls it off?
Saban gets the belts and it almost
he still
slips.
almost falls, and he's not even fighting with anybody. All he's doing is trying to hold his belts up.
So
it's
dangerous.
So oh my god.
It's crazy.
So well. I mean, that was banger though.
Banger.
What did they call him back then?
Generation Me.
Generation Me.
Their names were like Max and something else Buck. It's terrible.
I will bring this up a lot of times, but when they weren't like as big as they are, their theme used to be Mbop by Hanson.
They kind of look like grown-up Hanson, which I guess is just Hanson now, right?
I don't.
Hanson's just grown up now.
If you're trying to sell me that that's a negative, you're missing the point. Because right now, if they come out to Mbop next Wednesday,
instant baby faces.
I'm buying a Buck shirt. As long as it says Mbop on the back of it. Mbop, bop, mbop. Shib it up, bop, bop. Shib it up,
okay.
Bop,
yes.
Now imagine like how old are Hanson right now? They're like
they're
73,
30s?
32.
Maybe
like,
combined. 70.
They're like 30s, right?
Yeah.
Imagine
they can't be 20 years younger than me. They gotta be younger than that.
No.
I mean
they're not.
They were like early teens in the early 90s, right?
I don't remember. It was a long
late
time ago.
90s. Mbop was like 98. Something
I mean,
like
they got to be in there like early to mid 30s.
Okay, first of all, you said that like Mbop is past.
Mbop is forever.
It's present. You ever seen the way WWE does then now forever? That's also Mbop.
I thought you were gonna say
That's in the fine print on the bottom. Whenever they brought that up, they're like, and we also legally have to acknowledge that Mbop.
I was gonna segue this into a joke where it's like, imagine like 3 35-year-old men playing Mbop in front of 300,000 people.
Okay, you say that like that wouldn't be the best thing.
Correct.
Moshing.
I'm looking to headline a festival with that. Okay, MJF versus Orange Cassidy for the Diamond. Oh, Omega points out that nepotism is great. I forgot to put that out.
I love that when he comes, he's like, oh man, I didn't go begging to people to hire my friends. And it's like, bro, what is Michael Nakazawa to you?
Also, like...
The hypocritical natures.
And he created, it, like the women's division is his. So...
Yeah, Sheeta, Riho.
Yeah, right, okay.
Those are from him.
The girl that was Freddie Mercury for a little while.
Emi Sakura, yeah.
Okay.
I think Emi Sakura is like old.
Also, he did bid us adieu.
Yeah, that's true.
Which was nice.
Yes, I do enjoy getting the goodbye and goodnight bang.
Yes.
I missed that a lot, honestly.
Right. Okay, MJF, Orange Cassidy, Diamond Ring fight, busy. But
busy match.
It was
always going to be a busy match.
I also felt like, okay, we also had the Inner Circle and the Best Friends and eventually Miro and Kip Sabian. So we just listed a bunch of people. I felt like the wrestling part of this match was good.
Oh, dude, MJF's really, really good.
Whenever they simplified it to the ring, there was a spot, too, where he was on the apron outside of the ring, and Orange comes running at him, and he dove toward the ring to get out of the way. A front roll.
Yeah.
How great was that?
Dude.
It was. I don't think I've ever seen a person do that. It seems
smart.
It's the little things. He's a clever wrestler. Along with being strong and brutal, and he bites fingers, which just weirds me out.
He bites toes as well. Through the sock. That was the most brutal part of that. I guess I don't biting someone's foot after they've been wrestling for a while. I don't know if it's worse through a sock or without, but it's terrible.
There's nothing good.
There's nothing that has sold me more on MJF as a complete psychopath than him doing that to Cody.
Right. Now, how do we get through this? It winds up, of course, being a brawl outside of the ring, and then there's a distraction. This referee, if he's not on somebody's payroll, this guy is terrible because he just continually misses everything. And Tony, of course, is golly shucksing this whole thing to the moon and back. So the ref's distracted. Miro winds up coming out, and he puts Orange Cassidy away. And MJF, who's already been put away, crawls over and gets the cover for the 1, 2, 3. So he's your retaining Diamond Ring champion, yes?
I did want to point out, back to the match, the MJF working the hand was really good. Mm-hmm. Like, the focus he had, very good.
He does work body parts.
Yeah.
He thinks that through.
I love it.
Yeah, okay. Which is, again, he has a modern take on a classic heel, which is great.
Yeah. Which is why he's so good, because he uses, like, Twitter, Instagram, all this stuff to his advantage.
The work never stops,
which
brother.
I feel like a lot of wrestlers should do a lot more than they do.
And him getting into Twitter beefs is always so funny.
Right.
Remember that one time he called Jericho, like, a Hot Topic dad? Or something along those lines?
What a scathing and true thing to say.
Dude, Jericho had somebody related to him turn 21 or something, and so he dressed up like I dressed up when I was 20. Like, he said, I'm dressing up like I did when I was 21.
Yeah, wasn't it great?
And you could tell how proud he was of the look he had with the big earrings and his hair over to one side and all that. You can just feel how Jericho's doing this,
loving it,
to sort of make fun of himself, but also he thinks he looks great, which is everything about Jericho.
Yes.
In one big sentence.
Yes.
He sort of he wants to golly shucks, but oh yeah, I'm awesome. Right? All at the same time, right? And,
yes.
he actually is able to
wade
wade those waters fairly well. Okay, back to the wrestling. Miro goes ham. He's beating up everybody outside of the ring. Post this. Tony is talking about how Tony blurts out that these men have children, and it's, by God, it's Christmas time.
I hope their families aren't watching.
Okay, now you wanted to mention Miro's drip, and I want to explain to you my problem with the way Miro looked. Because you said he looked good. He's in like he's a very shiny style. What did it say on the shirt?
Oh, what did it say? What did it say on the shirt?
Versace jeans. Versace Jeans Co. He wasn't wearing jeans.
Exactly, that's the drip.
Okay, well, if
you're wearing advertising your other clothes while you're wearing
a shirt that says Versace Jeans,
yeah,
you should be in Versace jeans.
Listen, no. What's happening is it's like a billboard for your other. Like, okay, listen. Let's say you gotta have a lot of nice pants. You can only wear one pair of pants. Let's just say hypothetically, you can only wear one pair of pants at a time. Right?
Okay.
But you want people to know that you have other pairs of nice pants. So you wear a shirt that advertises your other pairs of nice pants. That way you're theoretically, quantumly wearing two pairs of pants at any given moment with that shirt on. That's what I'm saying.
Quantumly?
No.
Quantumly. It's like Schrodinger's drip.
If you're wearing Nike shoes, you wear Nike socks. If you wear Nike shoes, you wear Nike shirt. You don't wear Versace Jeans Co. shirt and not wear Versace jeans. I can't sign off on this. I'm not having it.
Listen, there's also just my whole theory of if you're buff and handsome, you look good in anything, regardless of how ugly it is.
Okay.
Which I also think adds to it. Doesn't matter how disjointed and weird your outfit is. If you're handsome and buff, bro, you look good. Wrestlers can show up wearing literally anything and look pretty good.
Well, most of them wear like tiny underwear.
That's true.
And they look good.
And then their own shirt that's on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Okay. Oh, Speaking of which, we got merch. I don't know how in the world we're ever going to sell it, but we're going to try to at some point, and we may do some stuff where we're at places and give away things. We're talking about going live for some of the movie pods and the music pods later on. We've been partnering up with the Gin Project to do some things. Haley, who drew these things, is going to probably partner up with them to sell some photographs, and he's going to be selling his woodworking. Go to Gin Projects if you want and check that stuff out.
Drew the logo you're looking at right now.
Bam.
At this moment.
Yes.
We're going to sell signed ones for $70,000
a piece. But don't feel bad. Ray's going to
not
autograph them.
Not like a piece of the photo, just like a piece of like the picture.
Yeah, we cut it up.
We cut it.
That's
and
what you mean.
Yeah.
You get a piece of it.
$25,000 for
roughly,
Ray to initial, $70 for the whole autograph. Coming soon. Don't you worry. This has been a Go Home Heat production, copyright 2024. Jared, for Ray, from EKP. Go home.